Hello, everybody out there in YouTube land. It's your t-shirted historian. Still kind of in the throes of my viral issues. So still got a bit of a cough going. I guess that's probably going to disappear in a couple of weeks or so. I don't know. I hope so. Getting tired of it already. Because it's like during the day, it's not too bad, but as soon as the night falls and the atmosphere seems to thin out or whatever like that, and it gets colder, and it just starts to agitate my throat, and I start coughing. And you don't want to be coughing all night while you're trying to sleep. That sucks. So, cough syrup is my best friend right now. But most of the time, I'm getting by throughout the days without having to take anything, and that's a good sign. Okay. But, my medical issues are hardly as bad as some of our panelists. Our dear friend Grim has really been hit hard with the medical stuff here lately, and I can only hope that he continues to recover and get a little bit better. Finally feel like I'm free for a little bit to be able to do some more things, and so I'm going to try to get some more things done here over the next couple of months for the summer. Starting with Tuesday, we'll be bringing back Dungeons and Discussions for another season, and hopefully you guys will have some really good questions to throw at us to make a 1-hour show out of, and I'll have plenty of special guests on to talk about it and such. Who knows? You never know who I'm going to get on that show. Kind of depends on what time they have available. But it's one of the fun things I really enjoy doing. It's just tackling individualized TTRPG questions, because usually it's something that's been rattling around in my head for a little while, and it usually and when I start thinking about it, it generates new ideas, and sometimes it generates ideas that could possibly turn into supplements and things like that. And you can ask Jim. I'm always throwing spaghetti at the wall in his direction so that he can kind of check my ideas out and stuff. He rarely replies to me about it. I guess he doesn't want to curb my enthusiasm or anything, but he's a good sounding board if I have mechanic ideas or setting ideas and things. And speaking of which, I do need to get my ass in gear and work on some stuff for him, because he's wanting to make a big push with Machinations of the Space Princess, and I've already pushed on it a little bit, but he's got more stuff down the pipe, and I kind of want to help out because I like the setting and I like the idea of it. It very much appeals to the heavy metal nerd in me. Meaning, the kind of guy who grew up reading Heavy Metal magazine and Epic Illustrated and, just seeing all that wonderful artwork. And I'm not going to lie, the first time I picked up an issue of Heavy Metal or Epic Illustrated, I was young, and first it was like, ooh, it's like a comic book. But then it was all the violence and there was the titties. And that was something very new and refreshing and very not comic booky for me. The Heavy Metal movie was very not cartoony for me, as soon as you saw, Den with his dork hanging out. So stuff like that is kind of what I grew up on back in the 80s. And society being what it was, parents are always busy working. They don't always have time to monitor what you're looking at. Much like, parents these days don't much monitor what their kids are looking at on the internet. But I guess there wasn't so much of it back then. So when we saw stuff like that in Heavy Metal Magazine or Epic Illustrated, and it was different. It was special. We learned some things about male and female dynamics from those books. Maybe not the right things, but we definitely learned a few things. We definitely learned what a good-looking female body looks like and an idealized male body looks like, for certain. Sadly, I've never achieved that one, but, that's okay. I mean, life is still going on. There's still time. Maybe I'll actually, bust my ass to the gym and put some work in. But who knows? The nice thing is I just, kind of feel like I'm free again for a little bit. Just for a little bit. They opened the door and they let me out of my cage for just a little bit to go wild and do things. And so what have I been doing? Well, I've been playing video games. I know, sounds highly irresponsible, but I just needed a release. Ironcaster's trying to get me to buy Helldivers 2. I'm like, I thought everybody hated that game now because they've nerfed the weapons and and then they still want way too much money for it. But as a counter, I'm trying to get him to play Forever Winter, which damn, that game's hard. I advise you guys to download the demo over on Steam, because you can download the demo for Forever Winter. You can't do it for Helldivers, but you can do it for Forever Winter, and you can play Forever Winter solo. In fact, the game devs say that that is a game that if you want the ultimate experience, you should play it solo, but you can also play it with a squad. And I may just decide to jump in on that and see if I can't get some squads together. And by the way, if anybody's interested in gaming with me, outside of this platform, shoot me a link up on X and be happy to connect with you up on Steam. And, maybe we really can get some kind of a little team going. It may just have to be a members only type thing. And that may be something I offer as part of membership, because I think I'm going to get the membership thing straightened out over the summer. Figure out what we're going to do. But I don't know. How do you guys feel about some member playing for, some Steam games? I mean, there's membership watching. There's plenty of stuff up on YouTube that we could all watch together. And I mean, I'm talking some nasty old movies that we could watch up on YouTube. That'd be fun to watch together. I was supposed to have Common Nerd on. Common Nerd Gaming was supposed to join us today. However, apparently his account on X has been suspended. I don't know why. But I did shoot him an email with the link for today's show. If we get lucky, he'll show up today. But at present, he's not backstage or anything. So I guess we'll just have to go on without him. But not necessarily as a replacement, but definitely as somebody I know who has been around other YouTubers. A friend of mine and Gary's is Das Wolfen.
I am dead from Earth.
Hey, I love that movie. And of course, Mr. Grimm.
Hello.
Hello. And Daniel from Driving with Dragons, who actually did a face reveal.
If there's one thing I know how to do is how to fly when I'm stoned.
I could come home and you could be screwing to toast it. You'll just have to trust me. And who could forget Tarna? Jesus, that was probably... I'm glad they saved that one for last, because it was like the most wild, vividly beautiful piece of animation they had in the whole show.
That's where they spent the entire budget.
Yeah, although I really liked the B-17 one too. That was really good.
That's probably my favorite segment is B-17.
Yeah.
Though
And
Captain Stern's good too.
yeah, Captain Stern was funny. And he's never done anything immoral unless you count the preschooler's prostitute ring. And he's never done anything immoral unless you count all the times he's disguised himself as a nun and sold dope.
That one's always good. It's like, what are you doing? Like, at least with a guilty plea, we might get you buried in secret so they don't desecrate your grave.
I've always wanted to have a character that was that horrible in an RPG, but never quite pulled it off. Usually because the other players didn't want me to do that, and the GM would start frowning on me if I started getting quite that bad.
I just love that they included 2 moving violations in his rap sheet.
Oh yeah, you know. How do I feel about the last season of Love, Death, and Robots? I have not seen the latest one yet. You guys?
I need to get around to that.
I haven't seen the first season yet.
It's not a bad series. It's not a bad series. You should check it out. If you got Netflix. First 3 were okay. Actually, it was the first 2, because I think we're in the 3rd season now. First 2 were okay. I don't really know if there was anything super duper memorable about any of those little vignettes at all. But I don't know. I guess it didn't make enough of an impact on me to make me want to watch it more than once.
The one with the sort of necromantic crab thing.
That one was creepy as shit. Yeah, that was a good one.
And the one that's a visualization of I think it's a J.G. Ballard story about the giant that washes up on the beach. I liked that.
Remember that one?
I've always liked that story. The one about the genetically engineered fighting monsters, that was quite good too. I think that was based on a Peter F. Hamilton story.
Yeah, some classics.
Or the old classic Game Miller monsters.
Oh, Das, I see that you have Fallout 4 in the background.
Oh yeah. That's
okay. Well, since we are talking about geek culture, let me bring up something, and I just found out about this today. So I'm going to share it with you guys, and I'm going to share it with everybody else here. Let me share screen. So I found this out by accident, and there's probably a whole bunch of you out there probably going, "Oh, T-shirt! Everybody knew about that already. Do ass, you're late." But Arizona Iced Tea has joined up with Fallout to do a special round of drinks that are green tea energy drinks. And this price is per 6-pack, so it's like $20 a 6-pack. They do sell a variety pack also, but yeah, I ordered a variety pack because I want to try this out and maybe keep a few cans just as souvenirs. But
$20 a 6-pack. It's like this.
They're big cans though.
The entire damn purpose of Arizona tea. Arizona iced tea was always it's going to be 99 cents.
And it still is. It's just, but I have a feeling that the cost for this thing is probably, the licensing. Which, I don't know, considering how Bethesda's doing these days, man, I kind of think they should have cut them a little bit of a break. But the flavors sound pretty good. I mean, it's like, what, we got green tea Georgia peach, green tea pomegranate,
I heard
green tea red apple.
That if you pour it out in the river, it'll turn the frogs gay.
Yeah, I picked up one of these. It's a variety pack, so it's got like, I guess 2 of each in it. So, I don't know. We'll see how it is.
I I do have the Nuka Cola somewhere. And I want to say that was actually done with Jones Soda.
Uh huh.
That they took their blue. I can't remember what flavor that is, but it's like a blue lemonade they do. That's just like a glowing fluorescent blue, and they actually released Nuka Cola Quantum.
How did it taste? Did you ever try it or?
No, it's sitting there unopened.
Yeah, we've
Just
got some of that
purely-
Fallout.
Soda.
Yeah.
We've got some of that Fallout beer, but I don't drink beer, so.
Well, it's 234 milligrams of caffeine, so it's definitely an energy drink. So it's not like, I'm going to be drinking more than one a day. Maybe two. But yeah, there you go. You can also get it from Amazon, which is where I grabbed it from, and I think I got it a little bit cheaper, but I don't remember. But I like Arizona iced tea. I think it's a cool company, and yeah, when I saw they were doing something Fallout related, I had to jump on that stuff. There you go. There's a little bit of newsworthiness right there.
Nice.
Cold tea is heresy.
What? You didn't even drink tea.
I don't even drink tea, but my British blood revolts at the sight of that stuff.
Look now, hot tea has its place. It definitely has its uses. It floats really well in the harbor.
See, that's not how you make tea. That's where you went wrong right at the start. That's why you can't get it right.
I don't know. I mean, we're the only ones making tea on the moon.
Well, let's see. There's some news about Condor DM, apparently. I have not watched this video, but apparently he's asking that we all be civil and give his content the credit it deserves.
He's already got the credit it deserves. He just doesn't like that.
I mean, I won't pay for his game because it's kind of pricey for what you get, and it's not formatted very well.
That is the nicest thing you could possibly say about that.
I mean,
I almost pulled up to his game with a fire extinguisher because somebody set the dumpster on fire. I mean, I tried everything I could. When I reviewed his game, I tried everything I could stuff, and I started with the good stuff, and that made up like 2 minutes of the entire video.
T-shirt. We treated him. We treated him fairly. We gave him a chance when he turned up in the chat. Yeah, when we were talking about him just looking for fights with people for clout and so on. So at some point you got to cut your losses.
Mm-hmm.
Fuck this guy. He's just one of those people who is a walking disaster. Just let him.
Yeah. Just let him. This podcast the other day.
That's a surprise coming from you, Grim. Usually you don't do that with people, but
yeah, everyone.
You must have really gotten under your skin.
Everyone gets a certain amount of chances, right? And he's used them up. That's just how it goes. And I think it's almost cruel to keep giving him attention, and it's what he wants. So don't give him what he wants. Is how I feel about it.
Well, there is that.
Yeah, that's my general rule of thumb with Condors. I keep going back and being like, look, guys, just ignore him. Don't quote his stuff. Don't quote tweet him. Don't mention him. Don't bring him up. Don't share his videos. Don't watch his videos. Don't even go there to downvote his videos. Just let him fade out of existence. But then he comes back and he does something that, bears commenting. Like his new recent trend of, I'm worried. Like, I'm worried about J. Scott Garibay because I'm like, this guy I think might, one of these days we're going to hear that he, I don't know, choked himself to death with a bag of D20s or something. Because of the kind of instability he shows regarding Dungeons and Dragons. But Condor, his new videos, I said the other day that it looks like you're watching him from the security cam footage of his prison cell while he walks around looking like Ted Kaczynski, getting ready to do something. Don't open any packages that come from Nova Scotia. And then 2 days later, he is, without dropping names, trashing me and this show because I happen to be sitting on it.
He was trashing our show too?
Oh yeah, well he wasn't naming it, but you're the only podcast I'm regularly on, and he was blasting you for having me on it. Unless he was talking about somebody else who voices over footage driving their car and talking about TTRPGs.
Wow, I'm so flattered. I got some, some of the big dudes out there are actually finally looking my direction.
Yeah, the big dudes, all right. him and his 5 viewers, all of which are his sub accounts.
Probably.
Oh, and don't forget God of Ka and Rob and a couple others are there watching too. Just
I still remember
post it on X and dump all over it.
I still remember whenever I had when I had somebody asking me to remove Grim from the panel, and I'm just like, seriously? You want me to take one of my best friends off the show because you don't agree with him? Like, what kind of sense does that make, for me to throw a friend of mine under the bus over you?
Well, look at that. The chess pit himself is there.
Condor, it's good to see you, bud.
No, it ain't.
Hey, I'm nice to everybody until you're an asshole to me, and then, I let you have it.
He's just the Chris Chan of gaming. So it's just,
I don't know. I find it quite impressive. I mean, to be able to say that much and not even accidentally get something right, it's just impressive.
Well, like I said, I'd give his RPG a look for sure if it was a little bit more cleaned up and formatted a little bit better and had some artwork on it. I mean, I don't even care if it's AI artwork because honestly, I'm to the point where I'm like kind of over that shit. I get it. I mean, so like, having AI artwork, it does kind of cheat your actual artists out of getting some work.
I don't agree with that at all, man. I just don't. All right, especially with the digital art trend that's been going on for the past while.
Mm-hmm.
You got a whole lot of people who've been out there shilling out, pictures of your character for $150 that is just like basic nonsense garbage digital art with very, very, very limited talent, if any. And that's usually the people you hear complaining the loudest about AI art. Now, you do have some professional artists, like professional graphic people that are like on the team. Not necessarily like, like a Larry Elmore, but like, people who are doing like the stock art for something that are hired on. And they're complaining a bit because it's like, instead of me getting a steady job where I'm going to spend 8 months or a year or whatever working on this project, doing concept art and all that stuff, they're going to do the first half, making all the concept drawings and everything else with AI, and then bring me in to finish the product, and I'm going to make half as much. I can see them being a little irritated, but that's just the kind of thing you embrace. And you realize, well, that means I can also work on twice as many projects. Yeah. But 90% of the people you see complaining about AI art complain about AI art because the AI art actually generates a comparable product to what they're trying to sell you for $150 or whatever. My issue comes with really lazy AI art. Like when you don't bother to use a paid version of the program to get the watermark removed. To when you do no editing, no touch up, no nothing, you just move it. Like, I mean, it's one thing if you're going to do what I do, where I'm making a thumbnail for a video and throwing it up there, and it's really just a quick kind of meaningless thing, and it's almost tongue in cheek in and of itself. But when you're selling a product, it's like you can look and you can say, somebody didn't even take the time to refine this prompt. Like they didn't even go in and get the extra hand that's coming out of some dude's elbow removed.
True.
For the fact that the ranger is not peeking out from behind the tree. He's literally coming out of the side of the trunk. Mm-hmm. And it's like you didn't even take I can deal with you have limited resources, you made some cuts, you made some decisions. I can't deal with you were just simply too lazy to put in the time.
It's made it harder to hire real artists, though, as well. I mean, there were always a lot of scammers around. That's always been the case, trying to pass off other people's art as their own. Now you've got people trying to pass off AI art as their own, and the other scammers, and they're just drowning out, genuine artists. And then the other problem is you got people without any real talent, kind of like you said, trying to charge a ridiculous amount of money for some scratching they've drawn with their mouse and MS Paint. Yeah, barely a day goes by I don't get two people coming to me begging for work with a ludicrously overpriced idea of what their work is worth, and really without the amount of polish that you'd need to do even a basic product. And it's kind of depressing. So you have to go by word of mouth, which means you're excluding new talent, which I don't like either. But it's almost too much hassle, and I'd rather use AI almost at this point.
I don't know. There's another problem I kind of have, and this is I'm probably going to piss some artists off with this one, but this is just how I kind of feel about it. Because I've dealt with production and publishing that involves art before, and graphic artists. And I don't mean like graphic design artists, like people who were like computer artists to start with. I mean like the art type. They started off drawing pad and pen and that sort of stuff. They are some of the single most obnoxious people to work with. I mean, I started a t-shirt company that had custom artwork, all right, for mixed martial arts stuff. I'm putting out ideas, giving the artists, ideas of things to draw for us to make designs. I'm giving them some, parameters for those designs. I'm buying the shirts. I'm setting up the printing. I'm making vendor relationships to get them into stores. I'm, putting our production quotas and our logistics together. I'm developing our marketing. And this guy wants to come in, get this, gave this guy 10% of the company. I'm like, this is your pay, because I'm not going to be able to pay you thousands of dollars up front to do artwork. I'm going to give you 10% of this company, and we're going to make money or we're going to fail together. And I'm also the one fronting all the money for production. This ass clown wants to come back to me later holding the finished vector images hostage, talking about how he should get 80% of the company since he does all the work and he's all the talent. And I'm like, you have lost your damn mind. And, even with, like when I'm working with writers on the other hand, so I started and I guess this serves as a little bit of an announcement. I have a pulp magazine I've been working on for about 8 months. An idea I've had for years, but I like pulp. I want it to come back. So I got a group of writers together. I said, hey guys, here's what we're going to do. I'm going to generate a bunch of random AI art, super, super basic crap, single prompt stuff to generate scenes. Go into the Discord server, pull the picture you want, write a story based on that. And then I'll take that AI image, turn it over to an artist and get them to draw it. And then that's where our professional art will come from. You write the story based on that. I give them the story and the thing that inspired it. They make their own stuff out of it. A writer, dude, you'll publish me? No, you don't have to pay me. It's like, no, it's okay, dude. I'm going to give you a royalty. We're going to do this on a royalty structure. All right, we're going to set this up. You're going to make money off of it. If it makes money, we're all going to make money off of it as long as it's in print. No, seriously, dude, man. I mean, just giving me a place to put my work out there. That's so awesome. Artists, I'm going to need $5,000 up front to put these images together.
Well, see, that's literally what I worked on when I got started back in the day. Was on a royalty system. It was kind of like if the stuff doesn't sell, I don't make any money. So,
but if it does sell and it endures in any way, you just get a check in your mailbox forever.
Which is pretty much where I'm at right now. Because thankfully some of the stuff I worked on is still being sold, and so I do get a little bit of money every month. It may not be much, but it's something.
But artists are just. My wife always says it like this because she went to. She got her degree in actually in music label management from a relatively prestigious art college. And that's one of the things she said. She goes, you want to find out somebody who has no idea how business works, go talk to artists. music artists, graphic artists, it doesn't matter. They don't understand the concept of you didn't just write a song and magically become worth millions of dollars. Somebody paid to print a bunch of stuff, paid for a crap ton of marketing, paid to send you to a bunch of different places where they paid for a venue for you to play at. You know?
Mm-hmm.
So it's but I've kind of found that to be true, and it does get kind of vexing. Luckily, there's a couple of really good guys in the community who are A, reasonably priced, and B, are just like, man, that sounds cool. I'd love to be a part of it.
Well, to this day, that's kind of still the system I operate under, is a royalty system. It's kind of like, hey, I don't make any money unless you make money. So it's to my, it's to my advantage to work as hard as I possibly can to make stuff look as good as it possibly can, so that it'll help sell.
I just hate the bookkeeping required, especially across multiple sites. So I prefer to pay a flat fee. But it's a good motivator to get other people to market for you.
True.
I've found that sometimes it's hard to even get the commercial rights. They want to keep those. And I'm like, I'm paying you for work for a commercial project.
It's a work for hire, dude.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, I'm not giving you the copyright to my idea.
Yeah, no kidding. So we got this tidbit of news this week, since we all like Cyberpunk. So he reveals that CD Projekt Red's Cyberpunk 2077 sequel will feature Second City, and he describes it as Chicago gone wrong.
So Chicago.
Yes, kind of what I was thinking too. I'm kind of like, how could it go any more wrong than it already is? But
what are they going to call it? Cyberpunk 2025?
The only thing I can think of is, you remember how, like, in Cyberpunk 2077, Dogtown was a separate area?
Yeah.
Instead, I think all of Chicago will be like Dogtown. Nuked out, cratered.
It's the combat zone right now.
Yeah, I mean, basically, it'll just be the combat zone, but it'll be an entire city that's set up that way instead of just one little area.
Well, there is a reason why they call it Chirac.
Yeah.
Well, that's where my wife is from. I got a lot of good friends and buddies up there. A big business partner of mine still lives in Joliet to this day. And he has, in the past 10 years, gone from, my wife's gone up to the city for girls' night, to, I don't really want my wife going up there without me, to, I don't want my wife going up there unless it's with me and during the day, to, I don't go up there unless it's during the day, to, I don't go up there unless I absolutely have to. And you're talking about a guy who's real stocky, covered in tattoos, big bushy beard, whatnot, tradesman, guy who's been, he's tattooed all down his knuckles and everything, and, swung swung hammers and turned wrenches and threw shingles. So he don't look like a target or he ain't a victim. But even he's like, dude, I don't want to drive my busted work van up into Chicago because they will literally try and steal my wheels at a red light while I'm in the truck.
Well, this is probably going to piss people off. Just a passerby asks, he says, wasn't Detroit the worst city in the U.S.? Actually, it's not.
It was at one point, but not now.
Yeah. Apparently, based on crime statistics, St. Louis, Missouri consistently ranks high on the list of the most dangerous cities in the United States. But it's like neck and neck with Memphis, Tennessee.
Yep, Memphis is. There was a famous joke in King of the Hill when Buck's derelict son comes. Buck Strickland's derelict son is going. He's like, "We're going to that. What's the bad part of Memphis called again? Memphis."
Memphis.
Memphis to this day, I've been all over this country, and Memphis to this day is the only city I've ever been in where pulling up to a red light in broad daylight, not even in the quote unquote bad part of town, I've been propositioned by a prostitute.
Wow.
I've been propositioned for a very small amount of money.
I must have been in a different part of Memphis. That's where we went for our honeymoon last month.
Wow.
I'll tell you right now, the blues and food is great there, but
We were a few blocks off Beale Street, so that may be because we were in basically the touristy area.
That may be why.
Even then, Memphis is still Memphis. Like, I mean, and God forbid you're like me and you're going across the river. You're going through, across the river through West Memphis, Arkansas. You get close to the river, it gets real bad.
I was one day hoping to make a pilgrimage to Graceland, but
it's $82 a person to tour it.
So I'll go by myself.
Does that include the fried banana and peanut butter sandwich, or?
That's just the tour of the house. If you want to tour the actual museum, that's like another $51.
Oh man, they're making money hand over fist on that.
Yep, they are.
Well, maybe someday. I mean, I am an Elvis fan, so say what you will, man. But Elvis is a king, always will be. All right.
You'd love my buddy Kathy. She, I was actually just had the funeral on Thursday. A long time business partner of mine, and she was like, she had an Elvis in her real estate company. She had offices for all her agents, and Elvis had his own room.
Oh wow!
It was Elvis's office, big cardboard cutouts, every piece of memorabilia you can think of.
Damn.
But that was the joke they made. What they're really doing is they're making up for her passing, because that woman made a lot of money, but she sure loved to spend it. And I'm pretty sure they could have shut that gift shop down. She went on a girls' trip to Graceland with her daughters and granddaughters, and they probably could have shut down that gift shop for the rest of the year and still been profitable when she got back. I remember because they kept having stuff come in that she had shipped back. And I walked up to my office one day because, it was like she had a strip mall, and I had my office next to hers. And the idiot at the post office apparently didn't bother to check which suite these were supposed to be for. I show up, I cannot get into my office because there's boxes from Graceland piled up to the damn top of the door.
Jesus. Oh man. We did get one other little piece of role-playing stuff. I haven't had a chance to investigate it yet because honestly I've had no interest in it, even from the beginning. But because it's another one of those contenders for the throne of 5e or whatever, it's something we got to mention. It's just kind of like, you may not want to talk about it, but it is out there.
Must be
and that's
Daggerheart.
That's this thing.
Speaking of abominations,
I looked at it. Yeah, it's definitely what you think it is.
I've only had a little bit of time to look at it, so I can't really make my own informed decision on it. But from everything I've seen and from people that I trust who I've heard talk about it, it's a very, very bad adaptation of 5e. It's a very incomplete game, and it's really slapped together, throw Critical Role on the cover, make money. Basically focused on all the stuff that doesn't matter. And it's like, chain restaurants and that kind of crap, but you didn't bother to make sure you have, mechanics that actually work.
Well, here, give me a sec. We'll talk about this page here in particular. But first, Mercurius asks me, have you read the new book, The Occult Elvis, The Mystical and Magical Life of the King by Miguel Connor? No, I haven't. And I know Elvis was interested in the occult and that sort of thing, especially after his mother died. And, that was kind of part of the things that he studied up on. I have not read that book, unfortunately. I can't remember what the last book I read was, to be honest. But maybe I've got enough time now I can actually sit down and do a little bit of that. But anyway, thank you very much for the Australian $5. And
what is that legit Elvis chainsaw horror movie against against zombies or something?
Oh, Bubba Hotep.
Bubba Hotep's awesome.
Bubba Hotep is an awesome movie. Everyone should see that.
Yep.
I don't have
Bruce
anything
Campbell
Elvis themed. Let me see. Oh, yeah, here we go.
I guess you didn't see that, did you?
That one's to me. Grim, repeat your review. You will, but first let's take a look at this page. It says, if your group decides to play this campaign, give your players the following information. No. We're just looking through this. First off, they're calling it the Village of Elmore. I'm pretty sure that's a tribute to Larry.
Is it full of busty women with bubble perms?
Of course not.
Because if it's a tribute to
Full of
Elmore,
busty dudes with it's full of busty dudes. Perms.
Okay, so the sword is, the village is basically like a hobbit hole because it has no defenders whatsoever. Oh, it's a halfling, no wonder. I'm getting bored just reading this. Anyway, yeah. So I don't own a copy of it. I'm hurting for money right now, as it were, because car payments. But
because you keep spending it on the themed iced tea.
I keep. Well, okay, yeah, there's that too. But all right. So you guys have actually had a look at it. I mean, what is it y'all think? That it's incomplete?
I don't know how to sum up quickly and easily.
Just go ahead and go for broke. I mean, we're 42 minutes in. We've got plenty.
Plus, if you give any criticism, the critters come for you. They can't take any criticism. They're like K-pop fans.
Oh no.
It's perfectly cromulent. You can get a game out of it. It doesn't tell you a great deal. The cards are largely unnecessary, I think. So I don't know why you'd bother including all of that kind of frippery. The initiative system is whack. Because as long as you keep succeeding, basically you can keep going. And if, as the games master, I want to intercede, I'm supposed to spend tokens, which are only generated by people making fear rolls. I think it places a huge cognitive load on the games master, because every single roll that the players make is either going to be hope or fear, depending which dice rolls highest. And if you roll the same, it's a critical, and it's considered a hope roll. And you have to interpret every single roll. So if they fail with hope, they fail, but get something to offset the failure. If they succeed with fear, then they still succeed, but there's some other setback. So you're constantly having to improvise, which I would find incredibly wearing after a while. So that's one of my chief concerns with it, and it doesn't have a strong identity. I think that's fine for something like D&D, because D&D is kind of its own thing. But Daggerheart needs a game world that it's tied to sell itself, and it doesn't really have that. It presents you with a few different worlds. And apparently they're going to use it to play some sort of very sort of Dark Souls-like grim and gritty world. That doesn't make any sense to me, because A, it's Critical Role, B, the system is just manifestly unsuited for that.
I mean, it's like you wouldn't play a Dark Souls grim and gritty type thing with Fabula Ultima, because it just wouldn't work.
No, and you wouldn't play Call of Cthulhu using Toon, though it might be fun if you did. Yeah,
actually, that would be kind of fun.
Would be kind of fun.
It's fine. It's nothing special. It does feel aesthetically, and in terms of the writing and so on, it just feels like Continuity 5e taken a bit further down the adventuring baristas sort of line. So,
boy,
yeah. And it's damn hard to kill players. They basically have to concede and
that is
give consent before you can kill them.
That is actually becoming kind of a staple of modern gaming whatsoever. I mean, I'm literally I'm involved in a TTRPG where the literal rule is a character cannot die unless it is by mutual consent between the player and whoever killed them or is running the game or whatever. And I'm just kind of like,
God, for Rule 0, I'm homebrewing that right the hell out the door. It is consent of me and whatever happens to you.
yeah.
If you die, talk to your dice.
That's right. Actually, I get a shameless plug here, if you don't mind, real quick.
Oh, go ahead.
I actually already scheduled this. I think I told you I was working on this because Clipchamp was being a pain in the butt for me. Going live at 8 o'clock tonight, Central. I've actually got a video that was requested several weeks ago from somebody about, like just general tips and advice if you're thinking about making your own TTRPG. Actually, I've even got a special thanks to Grim at the end of it because he's one of the people I've gleaned information from over the years. But it's hilarious because we're sitting here talking about the shortfalls, why this doesn't work, where they screwed up and stuff, and I'm like, it sounds like they should have listened to my video before they made Daggerheart. It literally, the whole thing basically could be summed up and, here we go, giving you reasons not to watch my video. Basically, the whole thing can be summed up in the old 7 Habits of Highly Effective People, number 2, begin with the end in mind. If you're going to do something in your game, you should always be going back and saying, what is the primary goal, design goal of my game? And does this either play to its strengths or mitigate a weakness? If it doesn't do one of those two things, why am I messing with it? Why am I tweaking it? Why am I putting it in there for no reason? If it doesn't, if I'm playing a horror game, if it doesn't do something that enhances the things that make horror games work or stop something that interferes with them, why am I messing with that, wasting time and effort, putting something that's just extraneous into the game?
Yeah, indeed.
I can say this about Daggerheart.
Mm-hmm.
It's definitely a product of the show that birthed it.
All surface.
Not necessarily. Yeah. Not necessarily a glowing recommendation, but
No.
Is it at least better than Candela Obscura? Because I don't think it can be much worse.
Yeah, it's actually playable, and doesn't have all the drawbacks that Candela Obscura did, but you can see the common design roots and ideas between the two.
It has a couple of shining points, but mostly it's either rehashed 5e 2024 with the ancestry and lineage and stuff, that sort of thing.
It just seems to me like all their stuff, like all the Critical Role stuff is, we're just going to re-release Dungeons and Dragons, but we're going to try and tack some gimmicks onto it, and we're going to glean out a bunch of the rules that we don't need because we're playing a lightly scripted improv session where we're all working to create an entertainment product, as opposed to we're at a game where people are actually trying to play the game and be effective and have different goals and motivations.
So basically like every Powered by the Apocalypse product?
Basically. And then, like I said, Powered by the Apocalypse, but what gimmick can I tack onto it to make it sell?
Well, we know how much people dislike, when the players have to do any kind of world building or anything, because, considering all the hateful guy who attacked Harmony Ginger at the con.
Idiot.
I still can't believe that one.
I will say this. Sorry, I will say this. They at least are braver than WotC because they have mixed heritage characters.
Yeah. How deliciously spicy!
It'd be
I was
hard
just
for
going to
them
say,
not to, because all their characters are half something.
Yeah.
are we sure it was a guy that attacked Harmony at the con, not 6 crows in a trench coat?
I mean, it could be 6 crows in a trench coat, knowing Harmony, but I think she's friends with the crows.
By the time she went to the con, she was friends with the crows.
That's true.
So it couldn't have been the Crows. They were already on her side by the time she went to the con.
There was a splinter faction of the Crows. Continuity, harmony, harassing Crows.
It's funny it's funny you bring up harmony though, because you're talking I was talking about gimmicks. You're talking about how players not wanting to do any world building or anything like that. When I first heard it, I've had no interest whatsoever in Braunstein, none at all. It does not in any way appeal to me. I've done 1-to-1 time and West marches and stuff before. Also, not my cup of tea. I can do it. I can run it very well. I can see some places it might actually be an enhancement. I think it's great for Cyberpunk or even Call of Cthulhu sometimes. But just not my thing. I'm not a hex crawl adventurer type of guy. But the first thing when she did her whole Godstein thing, the very first thing that came to me was, this is a really, really good way. If you're like me and you're a narrative gamer and you're a world building GM, this is a guaranteed surefire way to have your players bought in. You run a little micro Godstein first, where all your players are the ones who have basically built the Pantheon. Then you fast forward 10,000 years or whatever it is to where you're starting your campaign and it's their characters who are the gods. I think all of a sudden you got people buying in. You got clerics who aren't trying to cheese the system to be like, well, I'm technically following what my god said, but I really want to do this over here. You don't. I think it would mitigate a lot of that and generate a ton of buy-in to the world. Plus, adding those elements from other people, you're going to get more depth and more richness in the world in the first place, because now you have multiple creators with different perspectives making pieces of it.
Yeah, or that kind of investment is what you want.
Or you're going to get a trickster god named Slapnuts who curses people with giant butts. That's the other thing.
No. He's got several power words like Bofa. No, Bofa.
Bofa.
Everything this god does is according to Bofa. Then of course somebody asks the question, "What's Bofa?" Bofa these nuts. Or the other one, it's like, I am the great god Ligma. Ligma balls.
Well, you do know why you gotta keep an eye on your players. You gotta know your players when you're dealing with this. I did mistakenly forget one day who my players were, and they actually went to Dis to confront Dispeter. And my best friend looked over at me. He's playing, I think he was playing a druid. But he was like, he looked over at me and he said, so, tower's made out of iron, isn't it? And I was like, well, yeah. Next thing you know, he's done figured this stuff out and figured out how to make it work. Let's summon an army of rust monsters right around the base of Dispeter's iron tower and see how fast we can finish this adventure.
Well, I mean, that is kind of thinking outside the box. And I do love rust monsters as a monster.
Yeah. Oh, I love them. I use them all the time.
My high-level druid rides one named Clyde.
Your high-level druid what?
Rides one named Clyde.
Yeah, but they're aberrations. They're not like animals. That's the problem. But...
yeah, I know.
Yeah.
That's his...
just his mount?
Yeah.
Just because he can.
Look, my neighbor's in the chat.
Yeah, what's going on, Max? It's good to see you. Yeah, I haven't seen you very much lately, my man. Hope you're doing all right.
I'm pretty sure he's just south of me, isn't he? Down in Montgomery area.
I think so. Yeah.
Stop talking about rifts so I can watch your channel again.
Hey, you know that the Rifts game, we announced it on Tuesday that the Rifts game is actually coming to PC. The one that they made for mobile phone for, was it the G, whatever it is?
I didn't even know there was one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I did always want to play that. I did always want to play that because it would take care of all the Palladium system bullshit for me. So, so we'll see. I even tried emulators, but finding an N-Gage emulator is tricky, and then getting it to work is tricky.
Oh, no, you don't have to. You can just wait for it to come to PC, because it'll come to PC.
Yeah.
Everything does eventually. That's why we call us PC Master Race.
Yeah, because all Palladium's Kickstarters go off without a hitch.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, rust monsters do turn ferrous metals into rust and eat it.
Yes.
Which I guess the only way to beat a rust monster is to beat it to death with a gold hammer, but...
Well, in our situation, it was promptly determined that since plumbing is made from copper and copper doesn't rust, that it was entirely plausible that when the tower fell, Dispeter was just sitting on the john floating several stories up on a pillar of swaying copper pipes.
Okay, so I have the solution. Then after the rust monsters get through with that part, then you send the meth heads in.
Yeah. Next thing you know, all the wiring and plumbing's been pulled out.
Well, shit, they stole everything. Oh my god. This is actual excerpts from this is Daggerheart?
This is from the book Daggerheart, yes.
What is that artwork? Ew.
That is awful.
That was not good.
That's also awful.
That's also not good. Yeah, also kind of.
It's a bit more defined and a bit more graphically pleasing than most of the kind of pastel mush D&D art is. So I'll give them that one.
Yeah,
it's true. I mean,
it does look better.
It's still flat, boring digital art. Like not just digital art that's like, digitally made and converted, but like it's designed with some kind of digital art program as opposed to being even drawn on a pad, like on the little drawing tablets that put it in for you.
Well, in my defense, I still use digital artwork as my medium. I don't use AI. I just, I get all my digital figures arranged the way I want to, and then I shoot from different angles with different lights and everything. And whatever tickles my biscuit, that's the one that I say, okay, let's go for it. And there have been cases where I got an idea, where somebody asked me to do a piece of artwork, and then I was kind of like, well, damn, this is pretty good. So I shot it several different directions or several different ways under several different lights, and then I've thrown it back to the writer and said, hey, you asked for this. I came up with 4 or 5 variants because I like this one so much. So you just pick the one that you like the best, or use them all, or whatever you want to do. And that's kind of the advantage I have with digital art is if I want to go in some kind of crazy direction with my artwork, I just do. I don't have to sit here and worry about the prompt getting it right or wrong the second time. Because once I've got the character built up the way I want to, it's going to look that way no matter what I twist it up into. Yeah. So.
The disability stuff that you were showing on the preview, that really pissed me off. that kind of got my dander up when I was reviewing.
What was said?
Daggerheart. It's just it's the same old shit, right? They want to include people with disabilities, which now includes
most
me.
Most people I know that have a disability do not want to play their disability in a game. They want to escape.
Exactly. And right, if you're going to play a character with a disability, it should mean something in the game. Like stairs should be difficult if you're in a wheelchair. You should have penalties if you're blind or deaf or whatever in certain circumstances, and maybe you can offset that with a smaller bonus to something else as you compensate with your other senses or whatever. But why have all of these pages to basically say it doesn't matter, just play someone with a disability, but be sensitive about it? To me, as someone increasingly with disabilities, probably going to get diagnosed with chronic pain soon as well, it's patronizing and it doesn't reflect the disabled experience. There might be some value to it if it allowed people to practice empathy and compassion by inhabiting the experience of a disabled person. But if you're just going to ignore it, what is the fucking point?
At the other side of it too, like there's 2 other sides there. Like I remember Atten over at We Love TTRPGs had said in a video one time where I think he was talking about safety tools and how they don't work the way they're supposed to and whatnot. But he was talking about he had a player in his game who was a professional woman and whatnot, and he put some level of misogyny or something, some kind of discrimination against her, sex discrimination against her in the game, maybe she can, overcome it here or something like that. And her whole response was, I have to overcome that in my everyday life. Like I've had bosses who were jackasses to me. I don't want them in my game. And then the other side of it too is it's just a simple practicality. Right? You got a 20th or a 12th level wizard whose back gets broken or something and gets a magic wheelchair or something, maybe that makes some sense, though I would think Tensor's floating disc type deal. But no, you don't have a level 1 character in a combat wheelchair, because I'm an adventurer and I want to come back alive and not be in a combat wheelchair. So I'm not getting you in my group. I'm not getting the guy who I have to run back and get over the stick in the road when I'm getting chased by the goblins.
And this is also, to answer Max, where he says, if you're born broken, you're the way the gods made you. You have no need or desire for healing. Maybe not. And that may be your character's cross to bear. But the thing is, if you're going to play a character that's like that, then first off, your character needs to play the disability the way it is. I mean, it's like if your character has legs that don't function, you got to figure out some way for that character to move around and accept whatever penalty comes with having that loss of leg or blindness or deafness or, no sense of touch or whatever, because that should be part of your role-playing experience. It shouldn't just be, oh, and my character, is in a wheelchair. Because
can't be a palette swap.
Yeah, it's not a prop.
Yeah, it's not I walk. I just walk differently with wheels.
It's also hard to explain how someone's disabled in a fantasy game where spells like restoration exist.
Well, I can explain that real easy. Just like with death, natural causes is not something that can be cured by magic. So there you go. You can't, if the person was born with the disability, you can't heal it. But then again, we get right back to it. How did they become an adventurer in the first place?
Well, maybe they want to earn up enough money to get that wish spell to get it fixed.
Yeah.
That'd be my thing. That would be my character's goal. It's like, I'm an adventurer, it's like, yes, I understand I have 2 non-functioning legs and I'll play out whatever penalties that incurs. However, that's why my character's adventuring, so they can get up enough money to get a wizard to cast Wish or someone else to cast something else to fix their legs.
I mean, if I'm not picking you for my dodgeball team, I'm sure as hell not picking you for my Tomb of Horrors run.
Yeah, and that is the other part, too, is that because of those disabilities, they could become a liability to their teammates, depending on what they are.
Yeah.
Say a quadriplegic who had a railroad spike enter his brain as a 23rd level wizard, that checks.
Yeah, but he's a 23rd level wizard. First off, who got the railroad spike in his head?
First he had to invent railways.
Yeah, I agree. Magnificent Devil.
Stone skin up.
Magnificent Devil, as always, provides really, really great commentary in the chat. And it's like, yeah, he's right. The unspoken problem about the combat wheelchair is it fetishizes the chair, making the chair what is special about the character. It is dehumanizing, because it is. It totally is. Yeah, we don't have OSHA-approved dungeons. In fact, I'm gonna point something out that's kind of funny. We were just talking about St. Louis.
Yeah.
So I was doing a little bit of research on history the other day on the St. Louis Arch, and the way they had to put that thing together, because they never had a structure like that before. That was kind of free hanging. They had to, build up, those sky cranes that they didn't have until then. But they also had to do a lot of other stuff that definitely would not have passed OSHA approved stuff today. No. And I kind of wonder about that. It's like, how much of the wonders that we used to have were built using, all kinds of janky, rigs and stuff like that in order for people to be able to put it together or build it or assemble it or whatever. And how much of that stuff are we not allowed to do anymore because it's, not OSHA approved? And what has that stifled in our creation?
We've all seen the pictures. I mean, we've probably all been to a restaurant that has the pictures up as a, just as a window dressing and decoration. Those good old black and white photos of the guys building the Empire State Building. It's just like, there's like 8 of them, no harness, no hard hat, no nothing, just eating their damn turkey sandwich on a beam sticking out 800 feet over the ground.
Okay. So, Esoteric Order of Nerdity, it's a friend of ours, says that also assumes that the world you're playing in has magic accessible enough that anyone can be able to afford, let alone know a mage or cleric who can cast Greater Restoration or whatever. Yeah, but I mean, you're in a world where usually some kind of magic exists, or if it's not magic, the magic is technology. Therefore, if it's not one, it's the other thing. And if you're out there adventuring, there's a chance that somebody will have access to either a magic or a technology, because, I mean, technology is just another form of magic with a different word. That can fix your character. Whatever MacGuffin is in your world that is, the basis for why you go out and adventure is something that could be used to fix your character. So it doesn't necessarily have to be a particular type of magic or anything. I'm just using that as the most common example, because most everybody's go-to as far as a game, with maybe the exception of Grimm, is going to be a D&D game or an OSR game. So.
Sounds like that guy in the wheelchair is a quest giver who's going to hire the people with working legs to go get him the cure to his wheelchair.
There is also that.
Just a passerby had a good point. He mentioned that the
Cyberpunk Red one
did the wheelchairs did them for Cyberpunk Red too. And first off, that supplement is just an abortion. It's just it drips with just patronizing woke nonsense, but it does actually make sense in the cyberpunk world, and it does make sense there, because now you're in a world with cybernetic enhancements and stuff like that. And hell, my legs might work just fine, and I want to have a spider leg net chair wired into my spine if all I want to do is goof off on the net.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
Give me the tank treads and the cannons. We'll work.
Yeah.
Changing that to Mojo. Sorted.
There you go. Yeah. Or the Mandroid from was it Eliminators? You remember him?
Yeah.
With the big old tank add-on. Charles Band rules.
Or basically become a Dalek.
Yeah.
Yes.
That would be fun. Yeah, Legion's talking about losing your leg to a simple bear trap. I seem to recall more than once I would read Johnny Nexus's stories, and this is somebody I think Grimm knows. But Johnny Nexus would post up stuff on the net about different adventures and stuff that they had playing Warhammer.
Darren.
Yeah, and Warhammer as a system was brutal. I mean, I have all the critical tables and fumble tables, and Jesus Christ, I mean, it's like you can walk out of an encounter getting maimed for life.
Well, hell, Cyberpunk 2020 was that way without criticals.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
But the nice thing is that, but Cyberpunk, at least you can get that kind of, fixed.
Yeah.
But not so much in Warhammer. Unless you like the Chaos Gods, in which case I'm sure, Sludnash would be more than happy to replace your missing leg with a functioning peanut. I mean, leg.
With a Buick.
Yeah.
Buick.
And then there's first edition Traveler.
Oh.
Yeah. Well,
game where you
gambling element in the beginning.
Yeah.
That was actually fun, though.
Yeah, I've had characters die in the beginning when you're creating them. It's like, damn, got to start over.
One of the things I have to give Janelle Jacques, a lot of props for is the very first time I ever was introduced to the central casting books. And I have a couple of them over on my shelf, and I want to use them because in a way they were kind of like the Traveler motif. And I think if you had all your characters, if you built all your characters using something like central casting, your characters would be a lot more interesting than just background farmer. It's a fighter.
I have all three. I've used them over the years.
I've only got two. I don't have that third one.
They're great, and the dungeon generator is pretty good as well.
Yeah, that's the one I don't have, is the dungeon generator. But I have the fantasy one and I have the sci-fi one, and they're great.
I keep meaning to turn that dungeon generator to an actual program.
Ooh. I'm surprised somebody hasn't. But now that she's passed on, maybe somebody will. I don't know. I did hear that they were planning to republish those, but I don't know how much movement was ever made on those.
I haven't heard anything since then.
I mean, currently all I know is Goodman Games has republished some of her stuff, and I should probably get a hold of it someday. But at the same time, I'm kind of like, when am I ever going to run this? I got car payments.
Goodman Games has certainly been taking a beating here lately.
Yeah, they have.
I mean, they deserve it, but they have been. So you can only be gutless.
How not to make anyone happy.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
That's this t-shirt saying, I died in character create. Yeah, it makes sense.
The thing with
Current
Traveller is it always ends up as like the last season of the A-Team. You know, borderline geriatric military retirees going out into space.
Here's the thing, though.
Back off, Sonny. I got a plasma cannon.
It's the same as like, it's kind of like the people talk about, oh, well, the whole party got wiped out by the devil mouth in the front of the Tomb of Horrors. And it's like, how did this happen? How did it happen that all of you were that stupid? It's like
they
when
all
the first
crawled
guy stuck
in,
his head in and just fell down and bled out with no head on. You thought it'd be a good idea to stick something else in there. It's the same thing with Traveller. It's like, how overpowered do you want to be at the start of the game? Because you have to keep rolling. You have the opportunity to stop. There's a point that you don't die.
Yeah.
But
you can choose
you
muster
want to
out.
have more gun skills or something, so you're going to roll again and get hit by a bus. I got any sympathy for you.
trying to get that last point of piloting, and you end up getting vaxxed.
Exactly.
I want to retire as an admiral. Oh my gosh. Kind of on a different front. I do not know when my copy of Ashes Without Number is going to arrive. He hasn't announced shipping or anything yet. But I know it's going to be coming within, next month, I think. And that's also probably when he's going to go ahead and drop the final PDF for us backers. So, thinking about my game already ahead of time, I think it would actually be more fun to make it a little bit more post-apocalyptic and zombie apocalyptic. And I have the idea that whatever characters that folks are going to generate are going to be vat grown. It's kind of like, guess what? You were perfectly engineered to, do this one job, and you got spat out the vat and realized, oh, guess what? The colony you were supposed to work on, it's in ruins, and everybody's a zombie now. Have fun.
And all I know how to do is bend girders.
I am Bender, insert girder. So I like about life path character creation, like classic. Yeah, TWT. Do I take one more term of service? I still have one good eye. Yeah, no kidding. Yeah, return to Darwin's World. We did that. We may do Darwin's World again, but I really want to run something zombie apocalypse. I really, really do, because I think it's going to be a lot of fun. Just because I really like the zombie apocalypse stuff, and it presents a really interesting challenge for players because it is resource intensive, and it's also a case of, well, maybe we can keep the zombies out, but eventually we got to go restock some point. And that means dealing with zombies. And then, of course, there's always the assholes who want our stuff.
Oh, yeah. The worst thing in a zombie apocalypse is not the zombies, it's the people.
Oh, yeah. Consistently.
Well, that and the dysentery.
Smell? Yeah.
The dysentery is not so great.
Take care, Max. Thanks for hanging out with us, man. Appreciate it. All right. And I guess unless everybody has anything else for today, I guess we're kind of done too. So.
Oh.
All right. Grim, how you feeling, buddy? You going to run tomorrow or?
I will attempt to. I'm going to try and do all of Tabletopless tonight because I had to cut it short last time. But yeah, we'll see. But yeah, we should be doing Fabula Ultimate tomorrow.
All right, awesome. Well, that'll be fun. Those of y'all who don't know out there, yeah, we're playing Fabula Ultima under Grim, and it's really been fun. Matter of fact, this is kind of starting to become one of my favorite systems because I'm playing it twice a week now. It's like once with Jim, and then Ironcaster's got a Fabula Ultima game that he's running on Discord, and it's not too bad either. And I'm getting to play with a lot of really fun mechanics. So that's always my fun part.
Characters from session to session.
Well, wait, I want to test how everything works because I want to have a lot of fun with it and see where it goes and how you can break it, how you can bend it, and what's most fun. I hate to build a character that just does one thing all the time. It's like, okay, my character has the best defense, my character has the highest hit points, my character can do the most damage. That's nice. Where have I seen this before? Oh, literally every other character you build? Okay.
That's okay. Optimize all you want to. I will optimize you right back.
That is always a chance. That's always a thing, you know?
Yeah.
All right, everybody.
What do you mean everything has level drain and is incorporeal?
Go on. Go punch the vampire. He won't mind.
You got high saves? Welcome to Save or Die.
All right. Well, y'all join us tomorrow for Grim Streams where he plays Fabula Ultima. I'll be restreaming it on this channel too. And join us Tuesday morning for Dungeons and Discussions with I don't know who, if we have any special guests or not. I think Raven is probably champing at the bit to show off his new card stuff. So I might get Raven on the show again. And if you guys have never seen any of our shows with Raven CS McCracken, he's a trip. He is super duper fun and energetic. He will make you feel awesome. It doesn't matter how shitty of a day you're having. If Raven is on your show, Raven will make you feel awesome. Because he's just super duper positive.
Yes. I think he's made of caffeine and amphetamines.
I mean, he's made out of caffeine and uppers. Something, I don't know. But
9 Red Bulls and some of them Rhino pills from the gas station.
I have to ask his girlfriend about that. But
these are legal till midnight.
But only in the state of Nevada.
And they're not approved by the FDA.
For now. No, he's a good guy. He really is. He's a cool guy. And I know he's been working on a game that I don't want to say too much about because I don't want to give away any of his stuff. But he keeps in touch with me every once in a while. But maybe we'll have him on Tuesday. Maybe we'll have him on one of our Tuesdays. And then, of course, we'll have, Tuesday with Geeks later that night. So plenty of stuff coming up for you guys. And hopefully I will get my ass in gear and start putting out some new videos here pretty soon because I have time now.
There you go.
I have to do a bunch of writing for Grim. So busy.
Get on with it.
Yep. But anyway, thanks for hanging out with us today. We appreciate y'all very much and have a great week in Geek.
On behalf of the staff of the Independent California Motel, I wish you all sweet dreams.